Oh man, tonight's night. Yeah, boy. Ooh wee. I need to roll up my sleeves for this. I'm probably gonna get hot. We're talking about one of my favorite topics, brainiacs. Yeah, man. Be going right back to the Giza Plateau in Egypt with my good friend Mr. Richard Gabriel. Tonight, he picked the topic again. I said, what's the name of the topic gonna be? He said, I'll get back with you. And then 20 minutes later, we're like, what? Lifting the lid on Giza. Tonight, don't go anywhere. Seriously, grab your cup of mojo if you got it. Sit back, smoke a cigarette, just chill out, relax with me. We're gonna dive deep into probably some unknown. I don't know where he's gonna go. I really don't. I just know he uploaded a ton of pictures for you, and we're gonna go through some galleries. We're gonna go through all kinds of things. Share this broadcast. Share this podcast, Brainiacs. Buckle up, because let's get her done right now. It's go time.
What do you say, Brainiacs? You guys ready? It's time. It's showtime, brains. That's right. It's Matrix time. And it's go time. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let's go! Talk about ufology, conspiracy, controversy, and anything and everything
that Richard can get our ass in trouble for.
Let's go.
All right, Brady, crank it up now.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Crank it up, Brainiacs. Yeah. It's definitely your show. Your show, and we appreciate you for being here. Buckle up, everybody.
I said, welcome aboard. Ooh. And we're going to go over here to the other chest side. Say hello to you. Say hello to you, as well as say hello to Mr. Richard Gabriel.
Yeah.
There he is.
I can hear you.
What's up? Let me turn this music down. Get it out of your ear. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Okay. Now I can hear you. You're still a little bit low on the mic, but I can hear you okay.
Well, how's that? Is that better? I'll sit on the mic. All right.
It's all good.
Okay. What's up, Joy? Oh man, I told you all I'm getting naked. I'm gonna get hot up in here. You've got a presentation for these people now.
I sure do. Yeah.
You absolutely do. I think you uploaded some like 50 pictures, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, I got a bit of a preamble first, but once I start going, you're going to have to forcibly stop me.
Nah. Dude, the last time I think we ran the broadcast for 3 hours.
I did go to 3. I don't know if it'll go to 3 this time, but I think we'll give it a good go, I think.
All right.
And even today's what I've got lined up for today is just scratching the surface again. So keep watching this slot. And if you're seated well in your seat, Matthew,
I am.
Then I'll just dive straight in and I'll start talking to my listener.
Okay.
I've got one person out there, I think.
talk to though?
Hi there, listener. I hope you're out there tonight. You know, we're going to have a conversation, you and me. It's going to be a bit one-sided because I can't hear you. But what's happened now? Oh yeah, screen was flashing at me. So yeah, okay then. Well, tonight, I guess tonight I'm looking to share a lesson that I always remind myself of. It's to never take anything for granted, especially when it comes to the Giza Plateau, because you know we all know that there's tons of things there still to be discovered or disclosed. At the same time, we know that there's been tons of things that have already been found and disclosed. But it's a bit like it's a bit like the yeah. You could hold it on that one for the minute, Matthew, if you could.
I'm just
It's
getting
a bit
ready.
like okay. It's a bit like the kid who comes along years after something's been discovered and says, "Daddy, what's that over there?" And Daddy looks and says, "Do you know what, son? I haven't got a clue. You know, I've looked at this 1,000 times and I never noticed that." And then the questions are asked and the investigation starts, and suddenly you find that the little thingy that the little boy saw is actually quite significant, and nobody noticed it because it was right in front of their noses. And I think that's true of anything and everything, especially on the Giza Plateau, but it's true in life generally, isn't it?
Yes.
So with the Osiris shaft, that's where I'm going to start with anyway. There's a whole bunch of things in the Osiris shaft. I think I mentioned last time I was on with you, Matthew. I've got a very annoying brain. I can't rest it. Questions all the time, all the time. I just can't help myself. If I see something, I've got to ask, why is that there? Who put it there? When did they put it there? What was the purpose of it? And all those sort of questions. I said, I think last time that I've got a bit, admittedly, a bit of a forensic brain that just keeps digging like that. And, you know, it's not a pleasure all the time. It can be bloody annoying. You're trying to go to sleep or anything and you're questioning all the time. But when you're on the Giza Plateau, it really does help because you find yourself noticing things like the little boy does. And I constantly find things and ask questions of them, and it leads to some discoveries. Now, with the Osiris shaft, it's very easy to take it for granted. It's a wonderful place. Been down there a few times, and it holds you spellbound. But if you go down there, literally questioning every mark, every scratch, every aspect of it, it throws up questions which can bring quite surprising answers. The things that we do know about it, for example, we know that going back to the 1960s, for 20 years, the locals have been using it, the kids, as a swimming pool. They've been climbing down the shaft and swimming in there. That's a hell of a long time, you know, and probably went back even further than that. The water table was higher then. You've got to start thinking now, water tables. We know the place is 100 feet down or a little short of 100 feet down, but you've got to take account of, if you sort of in your mind's eye level that across to the levels of the harbour down below the Sphinx, what does that do to where the water you would expect to find it down there? Now, admittedly, it's only in recent years that the American contractors sculpt thousands of tons of sand from the area in front of the harbour, made it more accessible at a lower level. But still, even at a lower level, if you go further down into the cemetery, where you can see water under pressure running, and that is lower again, you've got to ask yourself, if that is the lowest point where you can visibly see water running, then let's sort of transfer ourselves up through the plateau to the Osiris shaft, 100 feet down, yes, but that takes it higher than the other places I've just mentioned. And there's all this sitting water there. So you've got to ask yourself, how can that be? There's a little thing to stop for a moment and think about. How can that be? Could it be that there is actually water coming into the plateau at a different level, or it's being pressured to a different level? Now, I've observed, certainly at the well at the time of year when I looked at and examined that, been there to see it a few times at different times of the year, and you can see that the water there is uprising. It is under pressure. So it's a huge assumption, I know, but perhaps there is water under pressure reaching higher levels of the plateau in order to percolate down through those shafts that are above the Osiris shaft, bearing in mind that there are the mud tunnels down below that come into the question as well. So there are questions there that I feel myself with the water in any case. It would need a special survey to be done, a hydraulic survey, specialist, clearly. I don't know the exact means of it, but I'm sure that there are high specialists with equipment and knowledge that could produce a map of the aquifer system horizontally as well as laterally to show exactly what's going on underground. I think it would teach us quite a lot, because the plateau itself, through the erosion on the surface and below ground, demonstrates clearly that there have been cycles of massive water that has flooded down through the plateau and over it. It would help, I feel, to give answers to that if we understood today exactly what's going on with the water systems below ground. So, okay, we know that there was investigation carried out. Primarily, we know in history with Joseph Shore and Boris Said. Going back many years, though, Boris is gone now; he's passed away. But back in 1997, he was below ground, and of course, it all went to nothing because, well, it didn't go to nothing. Eventually, it did because of a falling out there where Joseph wanted to go further than the permits allowed for Boris Said to go, and it caused a lot of friction at the time. But before it got to that stage, the ground penetrating radar that Joseph Shore did in there and caused the rift, unfortunately. But it did make discoveries, because when you go down to, and I'm just talking in general now, we'll go to the pictures in a minute and actually look at all this, because when you get to the very bottom level, go down those ladders, you'll see presently that there's a huge lid, huge coffer lid, thick and chunky as hell. A very strange one as well, as I'll show you. It was dug out of the ground several inches below the soil level, at the ground level, beneath where the ladders were, or partially where the ladders were. And this lid wasn't associated with the coffer within the 4 pillars in the pool of water standing there. That had a lid itself, which was raised separately. But beneath the lid, a shaft was found, which is just such an inconvenience, not to mention the fact that it was waterlogged, covered over, now forgotten. I mean, I've been down there, and so has thousands of other people. And when you jump down off the bottom of the ladder there, you don't feel like you're standing above a shaft. But according to the history, there is a shaft below there also. We haven't got a clue where, how, and what, how that relates to everything. What we do know is that the GPR there, and I've actually got it written down here, so I got it right. The lid was some 3 inches below the soil level. The lid itself in thickness was 30 inches, for goodness sake. 2'6", that's 300. Well, for those who work in millimeters or meters. I'm sure you can convert 30 inches, and that lid was actually 2.5 meters below a domed ceiling, which reached right to left for 2.5 meters. So it was 2.5 meters below, and then a domed ceiling of 2.5 meters. And the equipment showed that descended at roughly a 25-degree angle, going down, following the slope of the plateau, and rising as the plateau rose, it does rise, in a direction between Kefren and the Sphinx. So this is the tunnel that everybody's talked about, that is aligned between the Middle Pyramid and the Sphinx, and the tail of the Sphinx, where, of course, there's nothing there. Of course, there's no tunnel and nothing there.
Yeah, smart ass.
Okay.
Don't even say his name, bro. Don't even say his name.
But nothing there. But the equipment showed, GPR equipment showed that there's a substantial tunnel below ground there. It's like a civil engineering tunnel that would be we've had a tunnel built out here for a flood relief scheme, and that was sort of 2 meters or more, only a couple of meters below ground. And this I couldn't help but think, my God, it's just the same as the one they did here. They had a big boring machine here. I'm sure they didn't. Well, who knows? Whoever did it, it's there. But of course, from the point of view of the authorities at the Sphinx, there's no such thing, Anyway, so we know it's there, and Boriside and so they took the credit for it, even though the arrangement sort of fell apart a little bit. They left us with tremendous knowledge about the place. Now, what I can do now is start taking us through the pictures I've got here to mention a couple of things. May I mention just one other thing before we dive into the pictures, Matthew? Because I'm going to introduce something here in these pictures, which I didn't really do last time. And it is a key thing to say, like the little boy would say, there's something that nobody saw before, nobody noticed before, or were able to, for reasons that will come up.
You see Trevor?
And this falls on...
You see Trevor's comment? He's like, ha ha ha, nothing to see under the Giza.
Just under the Giza, no, yeah. Nice one, Trevor.
We all
That's
know,
absolutely true.
The majority of everybody up in here, they know me well enough. We talk about.
I think between us, Trevor, I think between all of us, I think people are going to be dancing very soon when it all comes out. So look, these the little bit of a revelation that I want to inject into this is simply this. From NC2 in there, I mentioned this last time about the interpretation and the analysis of the digital photographs. And what's that about? Well, it boils down to, in simple terms, that if we look at a rock surface, we see rock. That's what our eyes see, the predominant color, orange or whatever, beige, whatever colors, we see the rock surface. That's natural.
Sure.
If at one time an illustration or something had been laid on that rock surface, over time it gets hit with the weather, detritus, it deteriorates, fades to the rock. It's affected by breakages in the rock surface. A whole host of things affect it, to the point eventually where with the naked eye you look and you see rock surface, you don't see the illustration because it's now faded away from you. But what I found totally by accident from a photograph that I took in NC2 to start with is that when you take high definition or ultra high definition photographs and then put them under analysis back at home, you find that you're able to do adjustments to it, like tuning a station on a radio and getting white noise until you get the perfect position of the dial. And it's just the same. You can tweak all these innumerable different really is options which you can refine after years of playing with it. You can do it much easier. You refine them, and what it does is it pushes back the predominant color of the surface, and it allows, if there's any surviving pigmentation or coloring within the rock surface, it allows that to come forward, apparently to come forward. And you can actually recover illustrations that otherwise would have been lost or gone to the naked eye. And I've applied that and found across the Giza Plateau, across the world, in fact, in other countries, from other countries, and locally also, Paleolithic sites locally, that there's illustrations everywhere that can still be recovered. And far from these illustrations being the stereotypical caveman, Ugly type caveman with a club in his hand and no brains in his head, these are sophisticated illustrations, phenomenally sophisticated. And
hang on.
I'm taking trouble to mention it again now, Matthew, because we're going down inside the Osiris shaft, and these illustrations are prevalent there also. So if we start jumping on,
you, I gotta point out, you and I did this. I was already, I'm already able to see things, but whenever you took me down that rabbit hole, I'm gonna tell you now. Everybody, listen to what I'm saying, folks. This dude, this older man right here had me looking. My eyes hurt. I looked at pictures for the same damn picture for days. I'm drawing these things I'm seeing, and I'm going, "Is this what you see?" Yeah, that's you're doing good. That's what we're seeing. Yeah, check this out too. And he's like pointing out. I'm going, "Oh my God, is that a boat with a body?" Yeah, man. Yeah, but I also got to say, there's a friend of mine on Facebook, Ultraviolet, that does the same stuff, but with ground anomalies. Does the same thing as you, Rich. The same thing.
Yeah.
Amazing what comes out when you go back to red, go back to like looking at red and adjusting contrast and shit on these monster megaliths, man. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just had to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you, Matthew. Well, I guess we can descend. If you go to the first picture,
Okay.
Which is just a representation, I did a sketch impression of the system that I was happy to work with. I used myself. There we go. And you can see the different levels there, the 1, 2, 3 levels down. The second level down, the chambers that held remaining 2 sarcophagi, but there were others before. There's another question: how did they disappear? In fact, those measurements there, surprisingly, do allow for. It's been said, no, this isn't true, but I prefer to disagree. That there is enough room to move boxes and lids up and down through there. Not easily, but it can be done. It could be done. The space is there for it to be done. And if you go into block and tackle and other things, leverage and all sorts of different aspects of mechanics, it could be achieved, certainly with other things that were achieved in Egypt in old times. So that's just a comment there. But you can see there, it drops down to the bottom. I've got it line drawn there, the chamber at the bottom and the mud tunnel coming off that then splits into a Y section there. And right at the top there's a tunnel that goes underneath the causeway. That's a very top line, diagonally across the picture, and then drops down on the first, second, and third shaft. So it's just an orientation picture that I used myself for future sort of thinking about it, investigation. And I'm gonna before we jump to the next one, Matthew, I'm also going to mention here that Matthew has been working for me, has been doing some absolutely phenomenal work to create a a new site for me, because my site with one.com has been dormant for so long. They changed their entire system, and there was a handful of us that had been working, sort of professionally working on it for some years. And to us, it meant that we would have to either start from scratch again, or risk our whole site being disrupted. It made it untenable. So I just used mine really as an archive site, and I haven't been able to work it for all that time. But now Matthew is sort of taking it by the horns now, so that I can transfer the tons and tons and tons of stuff that I've got in the other one into an active site, including all the new stuff that's coming up here. And the other part that goes with that is that because of the obsession over these years since I made that first discovery, with the guy looking back at me from the page, from the depths of NC2, I've been fanatically collecting pictures. I take photographs everywhere, and now I know how to take them, to stage them so that it's getting the best angle for the analysis process. And I've now got a couple of external servers. I'm heading towards 20 terabytes. You know, I've probably got 1/2 to 3/4 of a million pictures. And I'd even lay claim to the probability that nobody could beat me for the volume of pictures I've got, showing all aspects of the Giza Plateau and the Western Deserts, which is a second thing tonight that we'll go to. But what we're doing with those is we're putting these gradually, it can take quite some time, we're putting these into galleries, by the 10, by the 100, by the 1,000, catalog them into galleries under open access for the public. And people will be able to use these for their own research. And I hope it'll be a resource that other people will really make use of, and will be able to advance with their own research. So having said that, let's jump back to this and move forward. We've got the first one there, that's fine. We go to number 2 now, Matthew. And these are just showing the actual entrances there. I said about the tunnel that goes through the causeway that leads into the drop down into the Osiris shaft. That is the back entrance. If you could just freeze hold that for a second, Matthew. I'll draw your attention actually to the left. I didn't deal with it in this one, but another time it needs answering. Again, it's questions. It's not enough just to let them go. Just to the left of that entrance, underneath where the D of Richard is, there are alcoves that are cut in there that look more than just common damage. And I've asked myself a few times, I want to understand that. Why has that been damaged and excavated into the sides as it has been? So that's an open question in my question list. So that's the entrance from the northern side. If you go to the next picture, please, Matthew. Okay, and that's the gateway leading into the other side. That's the one that you would normally go through, that they would unlock for you to get into. All right, you can go straight to the next. So it's just so that people got a visual on the route that you go. Right, so now we're going into, there's 3 pictures, one after the other, just showing you the top to get down the ladders. That's the first ladder, getting down to the first level. Then flip to the next one. There we go. That's the next one. And anybody that wants to check this out on the website later, and there's the long bottom one. It's at the bottom of those ladders where the lid was excavated. Now we're back up to the second level there where those chambers were with the sarcophagi, the remaining ones. You see the blackness of this. Now it's important. We'll come back to this in a minute with the photographs. Again, you can just flip to the next one. These are just views of the... now on these here, if you just hold there for a second, in all of these niches where I took photographs, um, I observed, my eye told me that there were anomalies there on the walls. You just freeze for a minute, Matthew. I'm going boss-eyed to keep up with them.
I'm trying to get it squared. It's okay. I'm trying to keep up with you and get it squared.
Yeah. But even on that one there, I don't know where you'll pick up there. Underneath my name there on the lid, you see this discoloration, and below that on the actual sarcophagus itself, there's discoloration, and up on the wall behind on either side, there's discoloration. Now my eyes now, I know straight away, those are illustrations. That's part of surviving illustrations. Undoubtedly, the whole lot would have been illustrated, but that's what's surviving. So just bear that in mind as we go to the next, because it'll show this in a minute. You'll get an idea of what's on there. There. Now, unfortunately, my name is stamped over it. I don't know if you're able to zoom in on that a little bit, Matthew, are you?
But I am.
Just let you go there. Yeah, just hold it there. It'll give an idea. In behind my name there, the bit that's surviving, you can. I hope that you can pick up that there's figuring there, and in fact up above it. In order to get a focal depth, if you go to the right, underneath, I don't know if I'm on the screen there. There is a creature, and I'm not sure what it is.
Right there on the right. Right below him.
Yeah, I can't even say that it's a rabbit or anything, but there are creatures there that gives you a focal depth to say that even above the darker area, there's figuring there that is barely surviving. On the left-hand side, you can see one that looks like a dog's head, see, with its mouth open on the left-hand side in the middle. I don't know if you're picking that up, Matthew. You see there, like a dead in the center there. You can see figuring. Okay, it's vague, but hell's bells. If this is going back to the length of time that we think it is.
Richard, how old, out of curiosity, how old do you think what we're looking at? If you
Well, this one's a difficult one. I mean, I figured already that in important places, probably for important people, that the sarcophagi were decorated a lot more than we give credit for. In fact, we don't give any credit to them because our naked eyes don't see it. It's faded too much. So I think that there was elaborate illustrations. There was a language of illustration that was applied. And when we go deeper down into the plateau in NC2, it is possible to point out where a transition takes place in the style of the illustrations and the the formations down there. You can stretch your timing and say, look, this goes 10,000 or more, because there are things you can relate it to. But here we are in the Osiris. That's not so easy. No. We can see, look, it's using a style of illustration, yes. There are questions about the how, the what, and the why of it, because I'm going to make another statement here. I don't believe for one single second, that any of these features, call them edifices, features on the plateau, were ever built or intended or intentioned to have one single purpose. Now, this is what I'm really sort of going to be getting at and trying to get at with the Osiris shaft. I think that they've been repurposed over time, and I think that's true of the whole plateau, with lots of different examples over the whole of it. But we're looking at the Osiris shaft at the moment. Now, as soon as a tag like Osiris is put to it, of course, it immediately fixes your brain. Oh, Osiris, right, okay. And it sort of closes your imagination down from, what about this? What about that? How does this fit if it is Osiris? How, what, all the time. So you asked me, how old is that? Yeah. All I can say is it's within the last 10,000 years. because I know that activity has happened long beyond 10,000 years when you go deeper through, for example, NC2. So it's a bit of a cop out to say that, but I'm trying to be sensible with it as well. So if you want to drop to the next one from that, Matthew.
You need to get back to your transition screen. I'm going.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
cool. Right. Okay then. So there's two pictures. Again, my name's over it a little bit, so it sort of blanks it a bit. This is basalt. It's one of the sarcophagi in there, and it took a hell of a lot to figure out what settings had to be to actually allow you to see into the blackness of basalt and pick up any imagery. As I say, I hadn't thought about this, but the watermark of my name is slap bang over it, where you'd want it clear for perspective. So I've snookered myself on that. But I think the next one that might give it clearer. There's two, isn't there, that I put in there? Yeah, maybe people will pick up on that more. In the lighter area of that picture, when you go to the site and see, you'll see it's clearer than this, but there's clear figuring on there. I don't know, Matthew. You give me a feedback from your end, even though my name is put across it.
Well,
are you?
I don't know.
I think
I can definitely make I can make the watermark more translucent.
Yeah, it distracts the eyes.
I understand that it distracts the eyes, but there's images that you, as well as your colleague, have got that the world has never seen. Okay, and
that's the whole point. Yes.
The thing
you
is,
see,
your
eyes need.
Want to protect that. I want to protect that for you.
Yeah. You see, with these images, your eyes have got to be able to go to that focal depth. That's the trick, you see.
Let's make it
when we're looking at a rock surface, our eyes make a focal depth of that as soon as they make contact at that contact. But to see these illustrations, look, stop there. Look above the B of Gabriel, between the A and the B. That's the eye.
I see,
of an animal there. I can't tell you what it is. It's got big ears.
There looks like Horus.
It's got a head like a horse, but it's not a horse. And there's another one like a lizard type creature down below the I and the E there of my name. You see, to see those, you've got to really make yourself boss-eyed. You've got to force your eyes to go deeper than the surface.
Right.
In order to get the focal depth that these illustrations created. Now, that's another thing. Why? You see, there's a huge question there. And I've noticed this so often with the illustrations. They were able, through whatever technique they used, to create illustrations that were 3D, basically.
On this image, Richard, I had to stop myself. I'm going to show you what I seen real quick. And I call me just a UFO guru, but let me show you what I seen real quick. See if I can show you this. Because this right there, right under Richard's head, I can't flip the screen, but you see right now,
yes,
dead square in the middle, it looks like a little alien face. Right
dead square. There's one, two. I mean, I can see them because my eyes are used to it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6.
What?
At least 6 creatures there.
I mean, definitely where my
yeah,
right,
and it's almost like a lizard head as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean by these images. Now let me give me a minute. Let me shrink this down. Hang on, I gotta shrink this down because it's really all right. There we go. it's fascinating how these things over tens of thousands of years held its contrast embedded or burnt. I mean,
Well, I'm just going to make a comment. While you're there, we're looking where the G of Gabriel is. That is the corner of the lid. And the left-hand side is going off at a different angle where there's no light on it, the same as the right-hand side. But if your eyes are able to follow the focal depth from the right-hand side to the dark area, you can actually pick up, there's a couple of heads there in the dark.
You know what, Rich? Let me do this, because these guys, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna share this link with them, and they can follow and on their own as well. I love to do that with these people.
If on this particular one, didn't have the watermark on it, then the eyes would go straight to that focal depth and you would see it 100% easier and clearer.
Now that should have gave them a link directly to should have given. If not, I'll drop the other link minus the www. All right, are you ready to move on, or are you still on this page? All right.
No.
All right.
Put the next.
There you go.
Right now,
let me zoom out. Hang on, remember, because I'm zoomed in. Let me zoom out for everybody.
Okay then. So I left this in. There's tons of other pictures that say will be in the gallery that people can access. So many more. So I just picked out a few representative ones. So here we are. This is the deepest shaft going down to the base where they uncovered the lid at the bottom. Now the reason I'm showing this is because these walls actually, they're not as smooth. Look at them. I mean, this one shows them as if they're nice, smooth, plastered. Well, they're nice and square, but the surfaces, they've suffered the ravages of time. But the reason that I pulled this one up is because the back wall on this, which is above my name on this picture, that back wall produced a fantastic illustration, one that I'm still trying to analyze and interpret. And I've shown two pictures subsequent to this, which puts them under different filters, a green and a blue filter, so that people can make up their own minds. But you can see that there's an illustration, even if it isn't as clear as a Rembrandt that was painted yesterday. Wow. So we can move to number 8 now then, which is that back wall. So here we go. Once again, that's,
holy smokes.
We got to figure out about, because my name is killing them. That watermark is actually killing them. We need to figure another way to watermark, I think, right, Matthew. But we'll deal with that. But forgive me, everyone that's looking at this. So this is the one with the blue filter, finally. You can see in the background, yeah, it's deteriorated, yes. But if this goes back multi-thousands of years, you can appreciate, in the naked eye, you see nothing. And it's only after the analysis that it can be brought out like this. And you can see that there's a scene that's described in the background, and I've been able to break that down through doing this in different filtrations, that at the bottom of the picture, up to and below the watermark, my name, that is a boat, and that boat is filled with smaller people and part human, part animal creatures, theriomorphic creatures. So you've got a boat at the bottom, and then you've got some sort of pageant or some sort of parade or something going on across the background at a larger scale. The boat at the front and all the characters doing what they're doing, whatever it may be at the back, or illustrating or memorializing something. There's clearly a scene there. If you flip now to the next one, which changes the color frequency, that gives you a slightly different perspective again, you see. You can pick out the sort of large figures at the back. I hope you can. And if you look to the left-hand side, I've tried to figure this one out and I can't. On the left-hand side, left of the R for Richard, that looks like an arm outstretched with a bowl or something. You see the bowl there? To the left of R for Richard?
That's a toilet
Yeah.
lid.
Yeah. Don't know what it is, you know.
No, you know,
Whatever.
to me, right above the C, the H, and the A, I see a guy like maybe like handing that bowl. I see the arm like maybe an arm stretching out at it and is holding a bowl. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They're really analyzing. They're again the photography is interesting.
The point I'd make with it, Matthew, is this. I'm finding this at my level with a simple bog standard camera equipment and so on and so on. Okay, yes, I'm spending hours and hours at it. Okay, very good. Give him a sweetie pie as a prize, you know. But the point I want to make with it is, Matthew, if I can get somebody somewhere out there that's got more learning and savvy with photography or any technique that could be brought to this.
Their eyes, man.
But yeah, the eyes are from the digital world, from whatever. I refuse to believe that there isn't equipment out there and experts out there that if they gave half a cent of credence to this, that they could go out there and pull the stuff in with their equipment and press a button and let it automatically digitally search and find these images and find the best settings in an automatic process. And that would be my joy, to go to my grave knowing that this had been picked up and there was people out there using the best equipment and actually rediscovering, not just rediscovering, but re-understanding what do these mean. Because I am convinced myself from everything that I've seen that this goes back to a time where this was a predominant language of illustration, not written language. Yes, you know, we know the types that we've learned about, but I'm going back to a time where I think there was a predominant language, which was illustration, before written language appeared, because the sophistication of the pictures. I've had other people say to me that have seen some of the other pictures I've done that I've held back, hundreds and if not thousands now, where they've echoed comments that I've made myself, where they've said, that looks like a laser print. It looks like it was put on to that surface with a laser.
Yes.
It looks like a photographic print. Some of them are that good. So you've got to ask yourself, does it go back to a time where there was phenomenal technology that we've lost in mind and everything? All I'm saying is that's the question, and that's where the evidence is pointing to the possibility of there's a high strength of probability. I can't say for sure, yes, that's definite, but I'm saying that through my simple, humble means with my camera and everything, I'm producing evidences that could lead to archaeological investigation in a branch that hasn't been touched yet, hasn't been recognized properly, that potentially could teach us so much of what we've lost, of those years that we don't know about, that we simply speculate about, that we talk about those were cavemen, those were Paleolithic, where they were this, they were that. And it's just off the top of the head without latching onto the evidence. So
do you see what Trevor just said? Here's the thing.
Oh, sorry.
If you see the point, Trevor's got a really good comment. Bringing a blacklight to the site, right?
I do.
Might be something to just try. Now here's where
I do, and I find stuff with it.
Okay. Now here's something you might also want to invest in. It's as simple as a blacklight. The light I've got in the studio here, it is a multicolored light, right?
Yeah.
And it can change. This is the thing. And I wish Ultraviolet was in this chat. I really wish he was in here watching what you're showing, because there's something about that color right there, red, that makes shit just like, I don't know. There's something about red. I mean, I've seen the images that he's shown, you shown, and I've not yet. Again, the depth, trying to bring out the depth. The color red seems to be the I don't know, man. There's something about that color.
Yes, it's true. That frequency does bring stuff out. Joy made a comment just a minute ago. I picked up while you were talking,
Okay.
About the Queen's Chamber and pictures. I said last time, Joy, that I found throughout the whole of the Great Pyramid, on that highly polished granite, those surfaces are they're pickled with images and illustrations right the way through. And they're incredible. You know, that's a story on its own to show all those. I'll do a gallery of those in due course and put them all there for everybody to see. I've got hundreds of pictures.
Oh,
and
Rhea
yeah.
Rebel says she said this over and over again, and it's technology that we have is now
Yeah.
It is like thousands of years old. We said that here on the broadcast too. There's technology that is displacing. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And
Totally.
why it's not able to be shown, shared? The only thing that I can remotely come up with is because it would literally change academia. It would force the hand of academiology to what's the word I'm looking for? To hell, pretty much just re-alter every damn book that we've got.
You see, this is where we run into ego. This is where we run into this barrier, you know, of the oiks. You know, you go away. You can't come and talk to us like that. You know, I've got a degree. You know, I've got look at my paper.
Right.
How can you possibly come and tell me things like that?
Sure.
Go away, you silly person. You know, that's the attitude that you meet. I'm sorry, I know I'm being flippant, but I'm being truthful.
Sure. This is where ego
sadly
problems
out there is an army. I'm telling you now, because I know this to be true. I know from all the contacts of such good people, such intelligent, clever people. There's an army out there of independent researchers. But I'll tell you this, Matthew, you mentioned independent researcher to a PhD student or somebody with a doctorate or whatever, and they look at you like they've just scraped you from their shoe. And that is the problem. There's a wealth of people out there. We're not on another side. We're on your side. We're all on the same side.
Sure.
We're all trying to uncover the truth and understand the truth. We shouldn't be treated like dirt. We should be welcomed. There should be some mechanism. Yes, allow for the fact that we would miss things having not gone through academic training, but people do have attributes that are worthy. And the good people that I've met, yourself included and in particular, but I've met so many people, as my colleague Bill and as Matthew, all the names I've had a brain freeze, but all the people that I'm thinking of that I've been working with over the years, they're incredible what they do. I mean, it blows you away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I find something new, it blows me away. But so does it also when I have things sent to me from others asking, can I have a look at that? Could you see if there's anything in that? Or just to show something. And it's phenomenal what they're able to produce. And we should at least be given the credit for the fact that we can contribute. And if the academic world, the establishment world, feel that we fail to some extent because we haven't had the academic discipline, shall we say, then there should be a mechanism there to deal with that.
Sure.
To have ideas.
Absolutely.
And examine the ideas fairly. and attribute to someone that they came up with an idea. You know, you go back to the little boy again or little girl again. You know, you wouldn't send them away in tears and tell them, "Bugger off, little boy or little girl. You don't know what you're talking about." How stupid is that?
See, but
You
that's
see?
that's the thing. That's where college, right? You be a good little boy or a girl. Go to school. Be a brick in the wall. Only thing that tells me and you and everyone else is that you are a good regurgitator. You can regurgitate the information that they're trying to put out into the matrices or whatever, right? And I personally, I'm looking up here and I'm thinking, okay, I'm a musician. James Roundtree's a musician. There's many of other musicians in the chat, and the majority of us could probably teach music. And I've not right, and I've never even we're taught these things. You are an archaeology and Egyptologist that you are a trained eye. Okay, and to me, and it's what let's go back to this. Let's go to this. You're a carpenter, an amazing carpenter, right? Yeah. You can't that shit you do. You can't learn it in school to the degree you've got it. It's hands-on knowledge. Okay,
it's a passion. It's
right.
instilled in us.
So
and there's a lot of people out there with that passion. A lot.
James, like, all right, let's move on. We're almost at the top of the hour already. Imagine that shit.
Go to the next one.
All right,
go to the next one.
I will.
So yeah, we've dealt with those. So that's the back wall when you step down the ladder to that final deep level. Okay. Now then, this picture, it goes back to Boris. Okay, that seems fine. There is the lid that was uncovered. In the background to the left, you can see the ladders. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the lid. Now I got a couple of successive pictures on here, but I'm just going to mention first of all the lid. You can see it inclined towards us, and it shows the sort of leading bottom edge, front edge of the lift. You can see the depth of it. They said 30 inches. And there it goes in towards the ladders at the back. And underneath that, bear in mind, underneath that, they found a shaft, which has subsequently been closed over, never spoken again. Oh, no, don't talk about that. It's too inconvenient.
Right.
Too bloody inconvenient. So go away.
Sure.
Right. So let's have a look now. Now, this one here, what I picked up on here, looking for what you don't look at normally, okay, is in the back of that picture, it's got the natural wall. If you could do the job on that, please, Matthew.
What do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
Zoom in on that back wall again.
Zoom in on the back wall?
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting in, getting closer, closer, closer.
That's it, right there.
Yeah.
You want me to get in closer?
Yeah, if you can.
Oh, shit. Okay. How close you want me to get?
Stop there, perhaps. Right, folks. Okay, then. Now take account of the fact that it's bloody donkey's years old. Rather older than yesterday. And look, it's been in a wet environment down there. Probably been underwater at some stage. As that the pool behind where the camera's taking the picture, where that would have been at a higher level, where the people were swimming in it at one time.
Oh, dude.
But nonetheless, when you look at that wall, I did my adjustments as best as I could from that picture, zooming into the back of it, and it wasn't at highest resolution to start with. But they have it to my eye. I can see across there clearly, though it's not a brilliant picture, but there's a whole scene in the background there.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing, I'm going to work on this, right? I didn't have time for today, but I'm definitely going to chop this picture out and work on it separately. But one thing that caught my eye on there, on these pictures, is to say, what wouldn't appear naturally? Well, if you take the www Matrix Minds URL at the bottom. No. Oh, you've moved.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I didn't want you to.
Because I gotta remove I've got to readjust the entire screen to remove that stuff. So what do you want me to do?
Okay, no, all I was going to say was that in a straight line up from where the MA of matrix is, I can see there's something like a column or something where there's crisscross pattern on it.
You're talking back in here, right?
No.
See, this is the zoomed in pic. And
Okay. That actual picture, I'm indicating to it now.
right here?
Where the MA of, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you see that
Looks like somebody's
like
hanging.
like a pole or something there, but it's got crisscross pattern on it.
Right.
That isn't natural to me. So I would want to enhance this picture and sharpen it and try and get out of it what it's trying to tell me. But I can see that there's a panorama illustration across that wall there. And that's an example of a target. That now to me is a target that I have to work on. And I'll probably end up putting an error or two on that one to get the best I can. And I'll come back another time. I'll certainly share with what I get out of it.
Well, I can tell you he's kind of fibbing you, because the last time I talked to him, he had 3 hours in this one damn image.
Right.
So it's going to take a lot more than just an hour, or you're going to designate more than an hour.
But you'll see on subsequent pictures now, the end of that lid, when we go to the next picture, you'll see something again. Right. Even on this one here, look. If you look at the ends down there at the bottom, you can see there's figuring on there.
Down?
Yeah, no, the picture needs to come up a little bit. I'm looking at the end, the lighter part. Yeah, up, stop there. Now, can you pick out the figures? So if you go in with your eyes into the surface.
I do. I see a sexy brunette there. And I see another face over here. Yeah, I see. They're tiny.
And the dark ones to the right.
Mm-hmm.
You see the one immediately on the right of the lid?
Over here?
Where it dives away. Yeah, there and further to the right.
I do.
Really, the point is that on here, there's illustrations. You know, you only need to see one and see, yeah, there's no doubt about that. But, you know, it just reinforces the fact that this old sarcophagus, but look at these creatures on there. They don't look like normal human creatures. They look like, at very least, theriomorphic creatures, where they're a combination of human and animal. I found that time and again. Theriomorphic.
Damn, there's the ET face again, right next to the brunette. Hang on. I'm serious now. Everybody just bear with me. I know what am I doing? What am I seeing? Holy shit. I need to find that picture. There we go. Right in dead square in the middle of the screen. You see the brunette.
Yeah, I can see that.
You see that right there. Right, there's the like an ET looking face. But right there's the brunette. Right above
that one there with a hat on.
Right above the M. Right there above the M.
Yeah, I see it. The lady with a hat. You can see that.
Yes.
I can see it very clearly.
Dude.
Rows of figures on there, you see.
Hours and hours.
And even as close as you go, if you're able, just for one last try, to zoom in, can you make it jump even closer?
I'll try. Everybody.
And then sweep across the surface.
Bear with me.
Say, when you're on your own screen, you see, and you got access to the photographs, you can really go for them and look at it. Right, now gradually work your way down to the dark ones on the right. They should show up most clearly at this level. Yeah, keep going across and lift it slightly.
Damn.
You see them there now?
Holy smokes.
Yeah, now you can see them. They're coming into view. Bit more to the left. Clippity clip to give the dark ones prominence. See them?
Oh,
look how clear that is.
That's like right under your face, right under you. Okay,
yeah,
right.
They certainly don't look human, do they?
No, they don't look
now,
human.
Why would they have been put on there? There's your question. why would this ancient lid be on there covered in theriomorphic figures?
Well,
There's your why. There's your questions. Those are the questions I've tried to find answers to.
I don't know. Good question. That's $1 million question. I mean, but that is
one thing
clearly
to have
people.
figures.
Clearly, people.
These illustrations, I know these are static. You know, these are all just viewing, looking out. But when you see figures actually in a scene,
Right.
actually involved in things,
Right.
that takes it to a whole different level again. But
Let me
you know,
bring
my
this-
point's been made already today that the Osiris has got these all the way down through. We'll see some more in a minute down in the chamber when you jump to the next picture.
Well, let me bring this image back down to human size because we got it under a microscopic type. Holy smokes!
But that's what you have to do. You see, you have to
Wow.
pull it to your own computer, folks, and that's what I'm going to make them available so people can do it themselves and make their own discoveries.
All right, moving on.
So yeah, there it is. There's the end. Shows them all so clearly. Yet with the naked eye, before you do the enhancement, you can't see a damn thing. Or maybe just a hint.
Let me go ahead and zoom in here for everybody a little bit.
See what the next one shows. I've got to remember what the next one is.
There we go. Right
Yeah.
about there. Right?
Yeah, you can go to the next one. If you could, please.
You left it out.
Okay, so now we're down modern day. There's the walkway. They just built that to get across to the mud tunnel, which was wonderfully convenient because I used it.
Yeah.
And that's across the pond, across the water to the other side where the mud tunnel is. We'll come to that in a minute.
Now,
I got tons and tons of pictures of that, and I'll show those in the gallery separate.
okay.
I just wanted to illustrate, you know, as you come off that platform. Here we go. Now that's actually looking to the left, but this picture does tell something, because down to, I know I'm speaking with somebody down in there, and I found out that down to the left, where the ceiling drops down, now there's been a bit of a rock fall in that area. Now, I was told that there is another tunnel from there, not just the one that's below the water level that you see, where the scum is on it, but to the left there is yet another tunnel there, going off almost parallel, but would miss the center of the Sphinx if it was kept in a parallel line. And again, you hear nobody talk about it.
No.
Another inconvenience, I guess. And incidentally, this picture has yielded illustrations on the walls in the background. And I may show that in the next couple of pictures.
Can I tell you, when I looked at this image myself for a little bit,
Yep.
I can see in the back, right above the letter A, I personally see a tree.
Yeah, you'd have to zoom in, you see, to be sure, and you know.
Oh, it's definitely there though. I'm seriously there. Whenever these guys go in there and they zoom in on these pictures, they will absolutely see what I'm telling you.
Well,
It's
you're gonna
crazy.
when you flip to the next, you'll get an idea of some of the illustrated stuff that's on the walls. It's fabulous. Oh yeah, that's the other end of the walkway where the mud tunnel begins. We'll come to that again in a moment. There we go. So I went up the mud tunnel. I went as far as I could. And that's the left-hand fork. Around the corner to the right, it goes off on the right-hand fork. Just to give you a visual on that. Here's a couple of questions to do with this again. So the mud tunnel, it isn't square cut, you know, like a shaft or a passageway. It's very roughly hewn. It's different sizes. In fact, it goes down so you can hardly get your body through. When I went up in there, I got covered in sort of beige slime, absolutely plastered with it. The point being that it's very wet. Seems an obvious thing,
Well,
but
yeah.
let's not take it as obvious. So, questions about what is the mud tunnel for? Why is it there? Why has it got two branches like that? Why is it rising as it goes along? Why is it wet, soggy and wet? So those are questions that have got to be asked. I was talking earlier about the hydraulics. The water that's percolating down through there and making it soggy has got to have come from somewhere. And again, it beggars the question, is the water under pressure being forced through the layers at a higher level? It can only be so high now, otherwise you'd have water showing at a higher level outside.
Right.
But it isn't. It's down inside, and it's keeping it slimy and wet. So it could be that there's water percolating down through. Questions I ask myself, why isn't it, if it had really important purpose, why isn't it properly hewn? Why isn't the side square? You know, like a proper passageway, even if it's a small one. On both of those, no, it's very roughly hewn. Even when the Japanese explored it, it's chock-a-block with mud and muck and everything, but it's roughly hewn. Now, there's some questions that may well be answered because I've got a picture at the end of this gallery that you're going to see that Bill Brown is eagerly waiting because I've plotted as far as I've been able to from the angles and the direction and the measurements of everything. I've plotted up on the surface, up on the causeway, the lay of where those branches are and what they're aiming for. What is it? Are they potentially aiming for anything?
Right.
The thing is, you see, and I've done that. We'll come to the picture in a minute. But I talked to Bill about this, and of course, with Dr. Abbas, Bill included that area for the ground penetrating radar surveys that were done in 2006. So we know that that area was surveyed, and with the picture that's going to come up presently on this, at the end of this little gallery, Bill can put that together with the findings of the GPR and just see what matches up, what anomaly underground matches up to the, to the plan that I've been able to draw from it. Now, I understand from Bill that the talk of a crystal chamber, that came from the interpretation, quite separate to the Osiris at the time. It came from the interpretation of the results that were showing on the GPR what was below ground there. So that all needs to be tightened together just to see if a valid conclusion can be drawn. Look, there is this here, that there, the two married together, and here's some reasoning to it. We know, yes, that these tunnels are rough cut. We know that there is moisture percolating down through. Can it be shown that these come from this place or that place or whatever? There's a line of investigation that can now take place there. So I'll say no more on that, except when we get to the picture at the end here very shortly, I can do a remind on that and say, look there, that's what I meant. Right. So if we could jump to the next one, we'll be seeing illustrations inside now, I think. I know that's one of when they did the lids on the bottom with Zahi.
One second, let's go to the screen so everyone can see it. All right.
Yeah, that wasn't my picture. That was taken by others when they drained the place out.
Wow. So this is under that.
Under the water, under the pond. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so that image right there that we're looking at now.
Yeah.
Is right under that.
Under that water, yes. Under that. And
holy smokes.
And under that is the domed tunnel that goes east-west from Kefren to the Sphinx and beyond.
Richard, what did they find in that? What did they, Trevor or Richard, either one of you, what did they find out or find in either one of the? Well, it looks like there's multiple sarcophagi in this chamber.
No, there's just the one, but that one,
Just one?
they were bones in them. I mean, that's recorded.
Okay.
There were bones in the ones that were missing from up above in the chamber, and there were bones in this coffer as well.
Right. Perfect. So let's go deeper to my question. If we've got bones, okay, if we've got bones on a sarcophagus that has been there for God only knows how long, thousands of years, have the authorities, antiquity, right? Have they done any DNA on any of these bones?
Oh, bugger, of course not. Yes, of course they have.
Well, okay.
You know, but they're not going to tell you or me. We're oiks.
But here's the thing. If enough of us know about these bones and we blast the living hell out of their email servers with, we now know, and I think that well, now we're in the need to know. We need to know.
Yeah. These are the questions that need answering.
We absolutely
tell us about it all.
Absolutely.
We can take it.
I believe so. I would love to trace the DNA of what it was, who it was, because there's haplo records, right? I seen earlier that people were sharing their blood type in here in the chat, right? And did you see that? And if with the DNA you can go back and see what haplogroup, right, that lineage came from.
Yeah.
So it's quite simple. Y'all need to come up with this shit. Come up with these DNA records, man. This is not even remotely right. Okay, back to the sarcophagus here.
Yeah, go to the next picture. Okay, so there we go. There's the pillars, and that was between those pillars. But that's looking down to where it slopes at the far end, where the rock dropped and fell in there, where I was told there was another shaft, another passageway there.
Look at all those orbs. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was a bit thick down there. You can jump to the next one. Of course, when you're in there, you can see through the surface. Okay, then. Oh, that bloody name again. I never thought this would be a problem, Matthew. Well, it really is a problem. Look, there again, it's killing it.
We don't.
Because I know, well, we didn't know. You see, that one's killed.
You know what?
Right across the center there, that entire back panel.
All right, Dad. I got you. Hang on a minute. Damn it. All right, you go ahead and talk. I'm gonna fix something real quick.
Okay,
all right, you go ahead and talk. I'm gonna fix something.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, what these pictures are showing is just where I've done some work on some of the pictures. I've just pulled in about 3 or 4, I think, 2 or 3 from that lower chamber, just to show the fact that that chamber was illustrated as well. And
you know,
you can't see it with the naked eye, but they're there. They're definitely there.
You know damn well what I'm doing here. I think
I do.
Oh, yeah, I do. I know you do. All right, so I'm gonna.
I do.
And I'm gonna move it to the bottom.
You're doing a lot quicker than I can do it. I know.
That's
well,
all
I wouldn't.
right.
I'd be here in the middle of next year. Still
That's all right. All right, so here we go. All right, let me close the screen now. There we go. So it should. There we go. Let me. I'm on image number 24. So just bear with me.
Uh-huh.
Oh, now
that's the next one along.
It threw it up there and didn't remove that watermark. I don't believe. Yeah, now we got one. Now we got one there plus there. I'm trying to remove the damn watermark for everybody.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, you can still see what I'm showing there
All
anyway.
right.
I don't know, others can pick it up. Look, you can still pick it up. Look, if you go to the left there, forget where the watermark is.
Zoom in.
Go to the left.
Let me zoom in. Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's slightly darker, the imagery on the left. You see the heads again? It look like dogs again, or something of that nature. Can you see them?
I do.
You know, but they're lighter color, but also below the watermark, can you see you can, I don't know if it's a bird and a snake. There's some dark shapes below that looks more Egyptian, I have to say, than anything else that I've seen. But above and below that line, that forms there's a like a frieze going across the whole wall there. Just to pick up on that,
That's crazy.
The best we can do. If you jump to sorry, before that, to the left of R for Richard on that one, you can see the heads quite clearly of the creatures.
They almost look 3D, Rich.
Well, it's another point I'm trying to get across.
Yeah,
we're able to create these 3D effects.
Damn.
Yeah, the next. Yeah, you got one more. I thought one. Oh, yeah, that's where they lifted that the other sarcophagus lid out. And where did the spare one go, by the way? Oh, that's an inconvenient question.
Yeah, right.
Maybe it's still in the ground, blocking the shaft up on the other side.
No, there you go. There again. Where are these things? These things.
Exactly.
That's bullshit. I'm just saying, for everybody involved that's hearing what we're saying, these things the world will never see. They're vanished.
No. That lid, I worked on that lid, and even though it's got ropes and things on it, that lid is actually fully illustrated as well. Okay,
all right.
Slip to the next one. There's only a couple left, but
this is where Egyptian authority, the antiquity. Okay, the Department of Antiquity needs to come clean on this shit.
Now, without me saying anything, can you see them?
Oh, I see the faces looking down at me. Absolutely.
You see there's like a square there? Well, that's on a wall. You know, it's almost like a carving, but it isn't. It's illustrations.
Damn.
It's like a 3D illustration.
Let me make
all
this
those
bigger
figures there.
For everybody. Oh.
From a doorway, looking out from a doorway.
Hang on. I'm getting it there for everybody. Hang on. Here we go. Perfect. Let's just send that bad boy up right there. That is unreal, Rich.
You've got to ask yourself, what you can't see that with the naked eye.
No.
And I just came across it and managed to pull them out. But you've got to ask yourself, what were they representing? What were they doing? That looks like a doorway that they're sort of
coming
at the entrance of, looking out.
Absolutely does.
How strange! For somebody to have done it in the first place, they went to a lot of trouble to do that.
Or did they? Because no, I don't know. Or did they go?
Yeah, you're right. It's fair to make that comment. Yeah, they had a technique perhaps that were able to just zip and it was done. Laser or something, etching the wall.
Oh man.
Now there's the next one you're coming to. I haven't been able to figure out. There's clearly there figuring. In fact, I can't make my mind up whether those lower ones are figures or 3 boats. They're figures, I think.
Oh my God.
And there's up above them, looks like a hippopotamus actually, above the matrix thing at the top. There. That looks like a hippopotamus head. You see that? Just left of center slightly, greenish color. And then if you go to the left of that looks like a boat outline because there's a mast or something behind it.
Right.
There's a figure there with a mast or something behind it and some smaller figures beside it. And then to the very left, it looks like columns there with figuring on those that I can't quite make out. You see, when I took these pictures, it was under duress. I was snatching them, you see.
Right.
Because you're not given the time to go down there and pose and take dead still, right distance pictures and so on.
Sure.
So I think there's one picture left, which is the one up above.
You caught me right in the middle of this. I'm trying to get that watermark out of there. All right.
Yeah. It's cool. It's okay.
The-
There.
the-
Right. Now, this is the key one. Bill, if you're watching now, you probably are. This is the one you've been waiting for. So, you can see I've done an inset picture there showing the mud tunnel at the bottom. Anyway, this is on top. Dead center, you got the little red dot. That's more or less where the mud tunnel starts underground. Now, the Y section where I crawled into the tunnels, as far as I could get anyway, they appear to lead in the direction that I'm showing here. The right-hand one, there is a shaft there on the causeway. I haven't investigated yet. I got photographs of all these shafts, copious photographs, looking down them and so on. I managed to nab a day when it was politically, there was political freedom on the plateau for one reason or another. And I grabbed the opportunity and went to every shaft down through the plateau and took copious photographs down through moving grates and so on where I could. So I've got the information there. I've just got to dig it out and do comparisons. So you got that one little shaft on the right hand side, and then that's at, I think it's 6 meters, and where the arrow, the black arrow, is pointed to the left, you've got the yellow circle around that shaft there, and that's about 28 meters in that direction. But at the 15 meter, is it a 20 meter distance?
I can make it bigger. If you want me to make that bigger, I can make it bigger.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's good because I can get perspective. The left-hand black arrow, at I think it's off the top of my head, 20 meter level. The Japanese reported at that point that they had encountered block work that had been made up, that had been constructed. Now, I've got one photograph of that. I should have included it, for goodness sake. Actually, it's a photograph taken from their, the camera that they shoved down through there. And it does show block work there. But Bill has told me that around that point is where the anomaly is showing. So he's now got to marry this picture up with that and just see how close it is. And the other thing is that the right-hand fork, yeah, the arrow does appear to go to that first shaft. But directly in line with that, over to the right, I've circled, there is another shaft that's on line with that. It isn't too much distant to the left hand from the split on the arrows. So there may be some purpose in those two, if they do in fact reach out to those shafts, or are they intercepted by the anomaly that the GPR survey picked up. Let's say I'll be looking to see what Bill comes back with when he makes the comparison between this and the GPR survey material. Okay, and that'll give us some more answers.
How long, out of curiosity, how long did it take you to come up with all of the depth, the measurements? Because again, man, if something happens to you and him, we are going to lose 80 plus years of research. Seriously, I don't let that sink into everybody. If something happens to this team, we're going to lose 80 years of research, not including images, videos, stories.
Well, I got to say, Matthew, I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm so totally grateful for the fact that we've sort of bumped into each other, and you've been, you grabbed it by the neck and said, okay, let's see what we can do here. Certainly to prevent the website from being lost altogether, the material on that, and the stuff that I've gathered since then, which is colossal. And it has worried me, that it would all be lost,
Oh, yeah.
The question I'm going to ask you now is whether or not you've got the stamina or the stomach to go to the second gallery for some shenanigans out in the desert.
I do. I need. I'm trying to reset this watermark here before we do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any questions in there that anybody's got,
Oh, yes,
I would say
please.
now is the time to get them to you. You know what I'm saying?
OR. OR, OR, OR.
What?
Hmm? As old George would have said, OR.
All right. Now, hopefully, this got that watermark out of the what do you call it?
Yeah.
Out of the center. I'm gonna assume. I hope. I don't know. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
We'll reset that gallery.
Never occurred to me, Matthew, at all.
That's all right. Okay. It's all right. It's now on the bottom right hand side. So let me just close this out. And again, any questions? You can't. I forgot. You don't. Your laptop. We'll get to it. It's all right. We'll get to questions here in a little bit. So, all right. So I'm gonna have to. This is the end of that picture, right? 31.
That's right. Yes,
Okay.
with the questions that gives us.
All right. So going back to the website here, let me share with everybody real quick. Right. Oh, we're already there. I just need to get the screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bear with
As
me.
I said
There's
to
a lot of
everybody
shit.
before.
A lot of shit
when
goes
you-
behind the scenes here.
Yeah. When people eventually get their hands to go into the website and have a look, you'll see that, like with the Osiris shaft there, I've got dozens and dozens of photographs to do with that, and similarly with every other topic that comes up.
Main gallery, I do believe, right? I need to enter on that. And we already went through these images right here. So we're
Yes, the desert.
We're gonna go to Desert Matters, right?
Yep.
All right. So here we go. This is an interesting gallery here, folks.
Different.
Nope, it didn't. Sure as hell
Yeah,
didn't.
that's a start. Yeah. There's a strange effect on that, you see, because that there is looking from one escarpment on one side of they call the Coptic Monks Valley over to the other side. And when it was misty in the mornings or when at night time when there's a full moon, the sand either looked like water or snow. And looking at that there, that looks like water there, doesn't it? But it isn't. It's just the sand under misty morning light.
Richard,
And that distance from one side to the other is about 2 miles.
I gotta figure out how to get rid of that watermark now. I truly don't know how. Because I told it to reset and it didn't on the bottom. It didn't. So
Don't worry. We'll do it as a sort of later consideration. Yeah. Okay. Can flick to the next one, Sarah.
all right.
Okay. When you go in there, now to actually get into this place, we're talking about 90 odd miles away from Cairo, and you have to go through Fayoum and Beni Suef, or Beni Suef and then Fayoum, and then you enter an area that's where the road is blocked by guards because you're entering what's known as a protectorate area of Egypt. And what that translates is that you get all sorts of aggravation with the police, under the guise, to some extent, are probably true, to look after people because there's a lot of bandits about with guns and things. And they insist to, police escort's got to go with you, but of course they're all looking for a bit of baksheesh, which is, for the hand to be tickled with a few dollars. So the way to get over it is to go in the middle of the night, because they all like to sleep.
So you didn't say that, did you?
It's a known unknown thing.
It's a known
Because
unknown.
you've got to know the route and the minds. It's not straightforward. There are other ways, by the way. There's another way, totally. Anyway, there was just to say there. Hang on a minute. You're jumping back on the last one still, if it's possible. Yeah.
I'm really looking for that watermark to go away.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment on that one. So this photograph shows that we got caught by the police to have escorts, and our driver, Christian, our guide, called Christian. He was a Christian, but he used to hide it because he got so much trouble. Back then in the day, there was far more open persecution if you weren't of the faith locally. And he did argue our case to get in over the. We wanted to, where they got a guard post just there, off to the side, on the desert sand, and it's like the last post at the other end of the protectorate when you're out into deep desert, then, or the desert road, and you know, the way to get into the Coptic monks' escarpment, which is maybe a couple of miles or so over sand dunes and into the desert. You have to go past the police place, and they didn't like what Christian was saying, arguing on our behalf. And as we stood there, one of the policemen turned around and just punched him, laid him flat out on the ground, punched him in the jaw. Just flat on the ground, because he got up spitting and spluttering blood, making his case. But you know, the policeman had shown the size of his, I'm not going to say it, his ego, and yeah, and we actually went past. I mean, because that raised all of us up, and we were all as angry as hell. And with two 4x4s, and we had an escort in each of them. It came out with us, so they left us out there and came back, actually walked back out themselves to the police post because it's more comfortable for them there. When they saw that we were just there to visit the monks and so on, so they thought. So that just shows you, if you come the official way, that's how you'll end up, under police protection. And you know, they'll make sure that they check on everything that you're doing and so on, because although the Coptic monks are decades established out there, when we first started going out there, there were only a few, just a few. Father Elisha, who's the head man, fantastic. He's probably passed away by now, but he looked after us. Went out there with Judith. Now over there, they don't allow women at all.
What?
In fact, remember the story of Backline? I can't think of the name. The lady with a camel who rode the desert on her own, did a solo trip across the desert and everything.
Oh yeah.
Very famously,
She made a documentary on that.
That's right. Yes. Now even they had her, although she was compliant to it, she preferred to stay with her camels and make a camp just sort of outside of their encampment of caves. But the monks did have a couple of large caves that were carved out as guest caves. And when we arrived there with Judith and I, we sort of integrated so well with them. And Father Elisha gave an order to say that I and she, that we were to be given freedom of the place, freely allowed. And we understood it was the first time ever that a woman had been allowed there. And we went out about our business just with absolutely no restriction or anything at all.
They're asking questions here. They're asking why no women? And on top of that, Joy says if you go do your thing at night, right? It's obviously you go there at night and you leave at night, right?
No. We go there. I mean, we stay a week there or longer.
No. If you go at night, then you leave at night, meaning to the dig or to the site, to the whatever.
Well, I mean, when you're actually in the area of the monks, then you integrate with them. You know, you'll be given hospitality. You're allowed to stay in the caves. Oh, your voice is gone. Sorry, your voice is gone. If you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you now again. I saw you talking, but I couldn't hear you.
Oh, you seem you're watching this screen here. Don't watch that screen. That's what I'm saying. Don't watch that.
Oh,
screen.
right. Okay.
There. Now you
Okay,
can see me moving, and my mind. Yeah. There's an 8-second delay between you and me, and
Okay.
and that screen that you seen. Just
Okay.
saying, 8 seconds.
Right. Okay. Cool. It's a long time. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we went there for a longer time each time, and we got to know them. We visited back there a number of times, and of course, the monks showed us things as well. You know, we told them our story and where we were coming from, and they sort of were able to assess our spirituality, I guess. I mean, we weren't Coptic, but you know, we're very spiritual people, and it resulted in them showing us a lot of things that increased our understanding of a lot of historical stuff there. It took us, for example, to shall we go down the thing and I can tell it as it comes. If you go to the next picture, yeah, that heralds, that is the area of the monks on the escarpment. Okay. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful place. And the one place that we were taken to was the horse cave. Now, the horse cave is about 200 feet up the escarpment. And if you go to the next picture, it'll show,
Oh
yeah,
my God.
what's in there, right. Now, the horse cave, as I say, this cave, it's a huge cave system that reaches up high into the escarpment. It's at about 200 feet. That's very significant. Because when you climb up to get to the entrances as there now, there used to be a platform of escarpment in front of it. But now it drops away to the valley, and huge chunks of the escarpment have broken away. Now, at one time, the seawater would have been up to around the 200-foot level. Now, that's significant because the 200-foot level takes you to literally to the door entrance of the Great Pyramid back in Cairo. So at 200 foot out with the monks, you got the horse cave. And the story we pieced together with this is inside, the whole thing needs excavated properly. There are plenty of horse remains or donkey horse remains, and also human remains. And you know, the monks themselves say they think that years ago, when this was in use during times when there was high sea there, that there had to have been an earthquake and a huge cave in that killed people in the cave. And that picture, if you could put it up again, I want to describe something on there. Okay. I want to draw your attention to actually the horseshoe, because I was so tempted to take this away, but we couldn't take things at all.
I'll make it bigger.
Okay.
Like that?
So, yeah. So the way these, it was out of iron, right? Thin iron. The way these were formed was that the bottom part was curved, and this one, as I say, is worn and damaged. But it was formed in the shape of a swan neck. So it curved up the back and then out again a little bit. And the way that was attached to the hoof wasn't in a normal way where it's pinned through to the hoof. No, instead, the side pieces that went around the hoof, they were clamped together and they were sort of cleated to the base plate. So they were cleated together tightly onto the shape of the hoof. And I did my research on it. You can go back to Roman times and actually find this feature where they were in desert areas. And they may not have been the originators of this, but the effect it had was to give double the purchase on the hoofs of the animals. so they could go through desert sand as if they were on a tarmac road. Okay.
Okay.
So we saw that. If you go jump to the next one now, the next picture, please. Oh yeah, that's just to mention. Look in there. This is the cave, the horse cave, when we were in there, where we went on another trip. We went out there to search and dig around a little bit stronger. We went there with all our batteries and everything charged up completely. We went into the cave and we could do nothing because every battery that we had discharged to nothing in an instant. So that trip was a bust.
You literally.
And we found there was weird energy in there. You know, actually, one of the photos. This is a photograph that came back from in there. Don't know how the hell it came about, where that came from, or anything.
Right.
Just came out in the results. So I can't explain it, but obviously it's rather different to show. Okay, we can jump to the next one now. Please, there we go. So here's some of the remains that we picked up in there.
Damn.
Human and the animal bones. And I say the monks are quite prepared to accept that there was a massive earthquake shake-up at some time, and must have caught many people and animals in there. That's why this cave is tucked away, hasn't been excavated, but it could do with a professional excavation there. And it's stuck way up on the escarpment. As I say, it's not easy to get to. Blooming hard. And of course, you'll be able to, you know, a proper anthropologist or whatever, we'd be able to tell a lot from the bones. And is it anthropologist? A bone doctor.
I don't know.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's the cave of the, we call it the, the horse cave. Sorry, I was thinking of the next thing. The horse cave. Yes. So the next thing is up on the escarpment above where the monks are.
Go to the next page.
Got the next. Yeah. Okay then. So we've got a satellite view here. So it looks all very smooth and clean, but that is a huge, huge escarpment. To the right, as it extends to the right, it actually provides the frontage into which the caves are all hewn for the monks to live. But when you go up onto the top, say it's a couple 100 feet or more high, when you walk along there, you come to this place we call the saddle. And within that saddle, where my watermark is on the D of Richard, there is a path that actually winds from one side down where that D is and back up the other side. So again, questions come into mind. Why? Also, where the D of Richard is, where the beige color starts to cut in, that there's like a flattened platform. Why is that there, you say? It's about 6-8 feet higher than the lowest point of the saddle, where there are striations across it. Now, to put this together, what the story is that water would have filled either side of this at the 200-foot level, tidal water, and the sides would have been a lot tighter than they are at the moment. Now, I know that because you'll see presently pictures that show the caves that have been washed out in the side of the escarpment by the action of water caves. Okay, we'll come to it in a second. But here we are on top of the escarpment. You've got a pathway linking both sides of the saddle, and it dips down. Now, the one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that at where the D of Richard is, where that beige color, and there's like a platform, on that platform, there is a petroglyph that has puzzled me from then to now, all these years. And I finally, in the last couple of months, I cracked what it is. spent time and finally figured what the hell it was. Asked the monks. I've done so much research on the bloody thing, and I finally cracked it. So okay then, we got this saddle. There would have been water around it. There would have been boats coming up to it. So that would have been habitable area at one time on top of the escarpment, like islands, because it's a gateway to the area of Fayum and so on, where grain would have been grown at different levels, the bread baskets of the biblical times. So that sets the scene of what this is about. If we now go to the next picture, I can start breaking it down again. Here is what we found. There is the petroglyph. What the hell is it? What is that? What does it mean? And all the questions. And I had to know. And I worked on it and left it and worked on it and left on it. I couldn't figure it out. I asked so many people. I've shown it. I've sent it to experts. And anyway, so I thought, back to basics. Let's just treat it as if it's an image that's sort of come to life from a surface. What can I do if I put it through the same analysis process and orientate it, play with different orientations? I spent hours on it. And eventually I found out what it was. So if you go to the next picture, it'll show you. There you go. I did the best I could with it. What it is, in fact, is it's my colouring, by the way. It doesn't come out the picture. I've just used contrasting colours to try and pull it out. It's a boat scene. There's a couple of boats there. Essentially, that's it. There's birds there, but it's essentially a boat scene. And I thought to myself, well, how appropriate. Here it is on the saddle, on a tidal saddle. The saddle itself is striated out from water sloshing over it, as tides would have hit it backwards and forwards. And here somebody has taken the trouble to, it wouldn't have been created as a petroglyph, I don't think. I think it was just etched out, like a lino cut. The best thing I could think of, where a lino cut can show you an image. And I think it was done like that because the limestone, with the right tool, you could cut into it, you could gouge into it, you see, to create something like this that would last. Because it wasn't in the bowl of the saddle, it was up on this platform, so it was a bit more protected. And people coming and going along that when the tide was low would have seen that as they came and went.
Wow.
So we can go to the next picture. As I said about the caves, I actually stepped inside a couple of them just to show where the water had washed them out, below the saddle on the one side, the predominant side. You can flick straight to the next one again. Yeah, there's another one looking out, Gave terrific views. The water slamming against that side there and washing out these lovely caves. But they're all smooth and so on. But there you can see the line of the escarpment there. It's a bit of a contrast from the picture looking down from space at the top of the escarpment. When you're down at ground level, you pick up the sort of height and massiveness of them. Onto the next. Oh, that one just jumped back to the desert again. That's actually a picture taken from the one of the caves of the monks, looking out over the base of the valley, and showing you where you can see activity or something going on. They actually kept pigs over there. And they had a turkey that used to.
I'm going to zoom in on this real quick. Are you saying that the monks still live in that cave? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
No
yes,
shit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, there's dozens there now. On both sides of the valley.
That's
on the other side there, 2 miles away on the other side, as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's loads of them.
Wow. All right. That's really.
I got
really
a couple of humdinger stories actually to throw in before we finish. You can go to the next. That's that one. Yeah, no, we're jumping now right to the other side. On the other side of the escarpment where I was just indicating to, there's signs in many places that there's been activity there, ancient time activity. I just picked up on that because that looked like an interesting sort of pareidolia head, with the eye and so on. Just an interesting picture. But it takes us to we're on the other side of the valley now. Okay, so if you go to the next one, I can start describing. So, okay, then what do we find? Well, during our time with the monks, we learned of something that was ongoing, which was driving them crazy. They knew that there'd been clandestine teams of people that were brought in to work on the other side of the escarpment. Now, at the time, there was only one monk had dug a cave out that side, and he didn't stay in it all the time. But from the other side of the escarpment, the monks were all aware of being disturbed, in particular in the night, by activity going on there. And one of the activities was they'd gathered this, it was a palm log from the valley floor. So palm trees down, it's a little oasis where it's brackish water down there. And they got this log immensely heavy. It's heavy wood. It's like carrying bloody concrete. But somehow, in an overnight, they managed to get this that the monks knew about down in the valley and bring it up to this spot and stretch it across there. The reason being, if you go to the next picture, the reason being is that, here we go. So there you see the log again, is that if you drop down from there, where the sand, there's all sand and debris there, broken bits of stonework, where the shadow's falling. Now, all of that wasn't there. When we actually inspected it, some of it was filled in, but underneath that, there was a deep fissure going down alongside the side of the escarpment. And for whatever reason, they put this up and arranged a pulley, a windlass, hanging down from that log. And they were digging down deeper and deeper and deeper down into this fissure, into the ground, for whatever reason. Now, I'm thinking, what was the next one? I don't want to give something away before it's too late on it, too early on it. Coptic plateau, arm on the top. I'm going to dig into the cliff. No, that comes out. Okay, then I need to tell you this now. So, okay, then what we found with this was that when all this blew up and became a political matter, because Father Elisha actually went to the government to complain about this and other activities, which I'll describe in a minute. And as a result of that, there was a big bust up about it, and some information was found. Apparently, government satellites had picked up through some form of penetrating radar means through the satellites, anomalies, ground anomalies that they wanted to pursue. So the story with this dig here is that they dug down and they found a compacted entrance to a tunnel that appeared as if it was going to be going into the plateau at the depth they found it.
What?
Yeah, hang on, it gets better. Now, we were actually able to, I'm jumping ahead, we were able to validate this because on a subsequent visit, we were taken to visit a village very close near one of the lakes nearby. It wasn't Maoris, it was another one. We swam in that lake anyway, it was lovely. And we went to visit, we were taken to visit a Christian family. The village actually had one or two Christian families living there, which was totally unusual. They lived quietly and didn't disturb anybody, and everybody was happy. But we went to live with this, stay with this family. Very primitive. They had a cow in the living room, in the front room, You know, that's how basic it was. But it was from that family. One of the sons of that family was taken out with the crew that were working out in the desert with the where the log was. So they put him down on the windlass to scrape and dig the entrance out to this tunnel that was going into the escarpment. And they were able to determine a couple of things. First of all, that as he had to dig this compacted sand out, they found, because of the hollow sound, that it was a plug. You know, there was an area, it wasn't continuous sand. At some stage, you know, it would break through. But also, as they dug this out, the actual, and it was described to us that the opening to this tunnel was actually finished off with like mortar or stone, nicely finished off. And it had Egyptian hieroglyphics written on the side of it. And apparently this young lad was put down because of the confineness, and they were bringing the bucket up and down with sand and stuff to keep them clear. In fact, they built a barrier of stones up above this, because up on the top of the escarpment was a huge sand dune that went on for miles. And just to stop the sand coming down and filling what they were trying to do.
Can you respond to that?
Oh yeah, question. Why are the monks choosing to stay there? For what reason? No, it's just the solitude. They just, you know, they live their lives and they worship, and they're one with the solitude and nature of the place. I got a story about that as well in a moment. So he's digging away at this thing, and this is how it's reported to us. And he broke through, but as he broke through, they say that apparently there was a rush of air coming towards him, not sucking in, and whether it was the air or whatever, they weren't able to give an answer to it. They said that there was a sound, like a wailing sound, a woo sound came with this thing, which scared the bejeebers out of the kid. And he all he could do, he wanted to scramble out, get out of there. He didn't want to be there. He wasn't going back down. And it put the bejeebers on the other members of this crew that were working there. Now, they packed up their stuff for the night, and they had a habit of nearby, instead of taking all the stuff away with them, they packed it. There was a little sort of place that they stuck it all. Well, the monks had had enough of all these shenanigans, and a couple of them went over there and removed all the tooling and stuff, and didn't take it away, but hid it in another place, not far away. But when they came back, they were already spooked because of what had happened to the boy. And now the tools are all gone and everything, and there'd been no direct contact with the monks. So it put the flying jabbers up them, and they went. They disappeared, and that's when it went political. But prior to this site, there had been, if you now go to the next picture, there had been explosions. Now, first of all, I'll show you this. Can you see where that guy's standing to the right of him? There's a cleft, and this crew had gone walkabout around the escarpment on that side, and had actually dug into the base. Yeah, just there, dug into the base and moved tons of soil as they dug into there. I think if you go to the next picture, it actually shows it better. Yeah, there, look. See the contrast of color, you can see it. Where they dug this hole into the base of the escarpment with no visible features. We actually went there and visited this and like inspected it. Couldn't make out what the hell, what they're digging into this escarpment. It wasn't until much later that we got this explanation that tied in with government discovery through satellite, and they were pursuing that. But now we need to go to the next, so I can tell you about the explosions part. Okay, there. So we're up on top of the escarpment now. Now, because it's so vast there, this working team, you see the rocks up at the top there, the little cairn. They built that to give themselves a bearing for when they came up on the escarpment with their vehicles from miles away on the other direction to get there supposedly without letting the monks know. So they put that as a marker to know where to head to. But then if you drop down lower to the bottom of the picture now, Matthew. Yeah. Now, what had been happening there was night after night after night after night, in the middle of the night, this crew were drilling and setting sticks of dynamite to blast these huge holes in the desert, in the top of the escarpment, as if they were trying to penetrate for something. All of this happened together and they were chased off. But we went over there with the monks to have a look at these. We wanted to see if we could figure anything out. But by then, this was a little while after they'd been working. And you can see where the guy there is sitting, that there's a lot of sand. And for us to have cleared that sand, it would have meant that we would have had to come equipped to excavate sand away considerable depth. Because when you stood on that sand and sort of thumped your foot on the ground, you could hear it boom, 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 boom.
Echo.
So we knew, that they had put boards across there and covered them over. That they'd gone a lot deeper, but had preserved wherever they'd gone with them.
Mm.
And we left before the monks were going to follow it up. We never got back and found out what the hell that was about.
Let me ask you real quick. Was what you're describing? Is this a pirate type excavation, or is this a government excavation? Do you know?
Okay, yeah, we do know. We were told afterwards that although local people were recruited, including the boy from the village and others from the village, and it was more than one team were recruited for this, they themselves were not told, but of course they're not stupid, they can figure things out.
Right.
The work was arranged by somebody from Beni Suef, in other words, the bigger place next to Fayoum, somebody well-to-do, who themselves were working officially, so it was government. Government down the line, arranged down the line.
My guess is black market.
Yeah, they saw something because you see, along that escarpment, it's another thing that we never got back yet to find. You can see, I can pick it out on satellite pictures. There are anomalies on the ground from ancient structures, again at the 200-foot level.
Wow.
See?
Mm-hmm.
You got the next picture then. Which one we have? Oh, yeah. No, that's that one. There's another one, you see. There were several of these on the top of the escarpment that had been blasted out of the ground.
Damn.
Weirdest thing. Weirdest thing. And the next one again. Right. Okay. I mentioned earlier that in the middle of the valley, we call it the oasis, down below where the monks live on the escarpment in the caves. Now, this area has been cleared. The water table isn't far below ground and it's under pressure. So they've got a pipe, like plumbed a cast iron pipe of a couple of inches diameter that's sunk deep down into the ground, rises up into the air, and it's tapped for water to irrigate this part. Now, you wouldn't go in here at night time. The reason is that because of all the greenery and everything, the place is literally chock-a-block with all sorts of creepy crawlies, snakes, and scorpions and all that type of thing. We helped out to cement a platform. They managed to get hold of a cast iron bath, and I volunteered to do this if I could get hold of the cement, which they did for me, to knock up some sand and cement, to plaster a base that where they could put this this cast iron bath in it as a step in and step out of, to do the bathing in, and have a secure area. I can tell you now that the day that I did that, worked up, and it was going into darkness, and the ants that came out, it was scary. I'll tell you now. We saw very big scorpions. The guys, the monks that were with us, were going crazy. We must finish. We have to go. We cannot stay here. We cannot do it. They were scared as hell. They're pointing up in the trees down there. You look up and you could see the snakes in the trees moving about.
Oh, hell.
Absolutely unbelievable. And the bloody great big ants, like bullet ants, crawling everywhere. I caught quite a lot of those from a trowel into the ground, into the cement. But anyway, we came away, and that was a big success. In the daytime, they were able to use it because the brackish water from underground was fed up like a giant shower coming down into that tub for them to bathe in and so forth. But what they wanted to do, I mean, they were terribly oppressed. They wanted to hollow out a little bit of the ground so that the water would fill that into a sort of shallow pond, but quite large, because the idea that they wanted to pursue was that there were plenty of fish that would live in that quite happily, and they wanted to breed their own fish, to eat. But the authorities, they brought in a bulldozer, and they flattened the ground, leveled it, so the hand digging that they've been doing to start it off wasn't, they weren't going to let it happen. And the way they desalinated the water was quite innovative. They'd get barrels of water, take it up to the escarpment sides, and they had a sort of bench area laid out above the caves, and they built these boxes. I describe them almost like light boxes, but they were black boxes, painted black, but they had part of the lid part that wasn't flat; it was elevated at an angle, so that they were constantly filled with the water that was brought up, and by evaporation and distillation, the distilled water was caught on the undersurface and collected, and that gave them clean, desalinated drinking water. It's quite clever that it worked it, but it did work that way. And in that garden that you see there, the Oasis garden, they grow quite a lot of stuff in there, but you had to be careful that there was nothing there lurking and waiting for you. They did have a sort of lean-to thing there that's shown in other pictures, that you could rest in, but again, you couldn't do it at night time. We walked past there the one night we were there, and where you would lay on it, on the matting, there were a couple of snakes on there. The place, that's when they come alive, all the snakes and things.
Sure.
And what was that? The collapse? Oh yeah, the miracle collapse. That last picture in this gallery, there's a little story attached to this. So okay then, quite an inane picture, you might think. Fine. So what is it showing you? It's showing you a large cavern, showing you a lot of building bricks on the floor, and you can see where they've already constructed some of the stuff. And when we first went over there, their church, or the cave that they use as a church, wasn't huge. It was less than the size of a small house, the area of it. And the few monks that were there, there was plenty of room in there. But it was done up nicely, painted and so on. And they wanted to go bigger because they knew lots more monks wanted to come out and live in the caves in the desert. So there was another part of the escarpment further along, quite high, had a vein of crystal, like rock crystal, about 4 or 5 inches thick. Nice stuff, but you know, if you went anywhere near humidity, they would dissolve. In any event, they decided to use that to dig out another cave, a larger one. But as they were working in it, it was hard going, and they were dispirited. You know, they'd never get this done, and they were doing it in relay teams in there, hacking this out, leaving pillars in place to support the ceiling as they dug further and further. They wanted something much bigger, like what you see in the picture there. So they'd been in there working, they had full teams in there. They all went home to sleep one night. During the night, they were all awoken, which they thought was an earthquake. When they investigated, they found that the little cave cavern that they'd been digging out had this massive roof collapse, and it collapsed to a stable seam, which is the height that you see there now. When they dug it out, they found that they got a perfect shaped domed church roof that required no further work except building walls to it and making the place, as you see, they got the blocks there to do the finishing and everything to it there. You know, they consider it a miracle.
Wow.
No work. They just had the digging out of the loose stuff, and they got a church.
I noticed there's a lot looking up. There's a lot of orbs and a lot of energy over there too, man.
Yeah,
man.
The pictures that we actually took that I've got in the church, it's filled with orbs. I have to say, some spectacular orbs as well. So when we got back, incidentally, we heard from Father Elisha. We visited him over the old part of Cairo before we left, and he explained to us and told us that he had spoken at the highest level about the persecution and stuff going on there, and that it had backed them all off. That you know, they wouldn't be getting any shenanigans anymore on the other side of the plateau. Whatever the team was up to, they were pulled out of there, and that they wouldn't get so much hassle at the actual monastery or the Coptic settlement itself. But there is one last little story to tell. There's lots, but one particular poignant one. When we first talked about going out to see the Coptic monks, our aim was to go further than that. We wanted to go to deep desert, which we ended up doing, but that's a separate story. Way, way out to the Black Pyramid and all sorts out there. At the time, there was huge Coptic persecution, a lot of political stuff going on leading up to the People's Revolution, in fact. But the Coptics had it bad, you know, they got persecuted really badly. And we heard the story before going out there, you know, of one guy and his little daughter, where he had been caught by the other side, shall we say, and he received torture treatment. His girl was taken away, kept away from him, and he was given torture treatment. And what was described to us, that it's a miracle that he even survived, because they put him up to his neck in a cesspit. They kept him there for a couple of days to try and get him to break him and tell them about others that he knew, you know, the supporters of Coptics. He did survive it. Well, he came out there and he was very ill, and his body was badly harmed. there was a big hue and cry because somehow he was assisted with his daughter to escape from where they had him captured. And it's all right telling this now. I know it's all right because it's so many years ago, a decade and more ago. But there was a hue and cry to find him. Where were they? Nobody knew or anything. So just put that on back burner now. So on our last trip out to see the Coptic monks, they said to the two of us, there's somebody you will enjoy to see. They can speak English well. And we were taken down to that garden that I'm talking, just showed you, the Oasis garden. And we were taken to a shaded part of it because it's all ringed with trees and everything. And as we're waiting there, the one before that, no, what's the one after that? Sorry. Yeah, last but one there, that one, yeah. So, yeah, from out among the trees came this. It looked like a young guy that had aged a lot, with a little girl, about 8 or 9. And suddenly we put it together. It was the guy and the little girl from the story. And because the little girl able to talk with Judith, she was delighted to be able to chat with her, and you know, for us to meet them. And it was such an honor, such a privilege, knowing what we've been told, the story of what had happened to them. And now knowing that they'd found sanctuary with the Coptic monks and been saved from probably been killed otherwise.
The authorities, Richard, you know what I'm saying? Do you think that it would be the authorities of? Well,
it was because it was encouraged then, because if you recall back in those days, there were any number of Coptic churches that were burnt to the ground.
Right.
Can you not remember in the headlines?
There
was terrible persecution over there, with them being driven out, burnt out, killed. Man. It was the atmosphere was awful, and eventually, you know, partly sorted out through the People's Revolution.
That's what needs to happen now.
Yeah,
that's what needs to happen right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and those are just a couple of the adventures there. Our mentor over there, I won't say his name, a particular monk that we befriended, he took us out on a 4x4, miles and miles and miles beyond that, out into the desert. Question: where did you stay? Oh yes, yeah. They gave us the guest cave.
And what year, around about what year was this? Morgan's asking. I do believe she's talking about the persecution of the.
Oh, we're going back now. It was about 2006, I think. We're going back now.
Wow, man.
2007, thereabouts, roughly. Yeah, we stayed in the caves. They had a guest cave, and it was incredible because the ceiling wasn't that high, and the way they'd hewn it out was that they got platforms that were left behind, and they had like camel hair mattresses on those platforms, which were incredibly comfortable. And when you were laid there, you could reach up and touch the ceiling, and of course the ceiling was absolutely rife with selenite crystal, rock crystal. I was trying to remember it, selenite. And it sparkled. It was like looking up at 1,000 stars.
Wow.
1 million stars.
That would be it'd be pretty cool, but it'd also be for those that are claustrophobic, very claustrophobic.
Perhaps, yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking at make sure I don't miss a question there.
No, I'm quite sure we missed a shit ton. I mean, I'm just click, scrolling through pictures, and I haven't really had time to.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, we had other adventures. There's another sacred cave we were taken to that's absolutely full with Coptic writings that go back thousands of years. And we went out to the monastery of Gabriel and or is it Samuel? Yeah. And we went out to explore the escarpments further down where there were other things that were shown to us, fossils and so on that are in the ground. We were out for a walk one time on a very, very long excursion. The heat just thrashes the hell out of you. But we sat down there and in the sand just at our feet there, I found something, scraped it back. And I was speaking to Wafi, the Coptic monk there, what's this? And it was clearly, it was like a fossilized fish with tons of scales on there. It was like a coelacanth, practically extinct now. And he says, oh yes, there are many here. He says, you can take, when you come back, we come back this way, and you can take, like it was just nothing.
A fossilized fish. Did you guys hear that? A fossilized fish.
And shark's teeth. We picked up shark's teeth.
See, the Nile. Well, here's the thing. The Nile dumps into what? The Red Sea? Is it the Red Sea?
Well, no. This is when it was all sea. This is when the whole thing, the land was covered in sea.
Oh my God!
This was deep sea at one time.
I'm having to go back 8,000 years ago. Holy shit!
Yeah, well, you're going 10,000+ years. 10 to 14,500 years probably.
Some
and with the different levels, and yeah, we picked up things like that. And what was that other point? Oh yes, I put that story on my timeline, on my Facebook timeline. The story of the guy with the broken leg. That was the most humbling thing ever. Humbled to pieces because while we were with the Coptic monks, as I said, on the way to get there, you're buckaroo on 4x4s. You're going up and down. You cling with everything you've got to cling with, because you'll bash yourself against the roof or something as you're going over at breakneck speed. Otherwise, you just disappear into the sand. It's like powder. And on this one occasion, talking to one of our monks, friends, asking him about a guy that I saw. Clearly not a monk. He looked very, very thin, almost like a thin child, but he was clearly an adult. And he was hobbling horribly. And I asked one of the monks, what's with the man? And they said, oh, he lives in a village some distance from us. And he says he comes to us at least once a year, maybe twice a year, just to pay homage, to meditate. The difference this time was that he managed to get there from his village, and he got a leg that was broken in a few places. And as we learned over there, you can forget hospital and doctors and so on, unless you got money. Somebody at his level would never get anything like that. So he got some old bits of wood, and his leg was bandaged, literally from his ankle right the way up to his groin. Wow. Thickly bandaged. And he got a crutch, and he was hobbling along, and with his broken leg. So I just caught me. I thought, oh my God, fathers, you're all the way here. When it came time for us to go, we loaded up. We got 2 4x4s. We got our escort and all the rest of it, and off we set. But as we're going back over the sand dunes to get back out to the main road, about halfway along, we come across, there's this bloody guy with a broken leg, and he's still wearing like his Sunday best, totally inappropriate clothes for the desert. It's like he would wear his best clothes as he got them, to show respect for where he was going. But he's hobbling back now to get back over the sand dunes to get home. So we stopped the jeeps, and we'll give you a lift. So our jeep was the one that was going to be used. and he sort of, we had to help him up to feed him in through the back, and find the gap between the seats to stretch his leg out.
I want to
hold his leg.
share something with you real quick. Mr. Daryl says all of this stuff has been in the wrong hands, and we need to take it back. Brilliant stuff, Richard.
Yeah, that's
Thank
true.
you, Daryl. You know, the things we've went over tonight, we're pushing on almost 2.5 hours. I'm getting strung out. I know you're getting strung out.
Well, let me tell the end of this story off, Matthew. It'll take a moment just to finish what happened to the guy, and that'll be it. That'll be the closing statement, if you like.
Yes, sir.
So we got him in the jeeps, and we set off again, buckaroo style. We hadn't gone no distance at all. This guy's shrieking now because it's banging his broken leg to pieces. So we stopped the jeeps again. How the hell are we going to manage this? So being as I was sort of sat next to him on one side and somebody else the other side, so I put my arm across between where I was sat to the backrest of the other seat, and we draped some clothes on that and elevated his leg to rest on that for the distance we had to go. Yeah, we'll manage it. So we did that. So he's leaning back with his leg now elevated up in the air. We went as slow as it was possible to go, but we still had to put some speed to it to get over the sand dunes and stuff. So we got out to the main road. Then we had to go through all the officialdom and everything. So we're all out of the jeeps and that. And this guy was brought out and put to the side of the road. And I'm saying to Christian, I said, well, what happens with him now? He said, oh, you'll just wait for a lift to come. I said, but this is a desert road. There's probably only one car a day comes along here, if anything. He said, no, but that's what he does, you know. So, okay. Anyway, I looked at the guy as he's slumped down now on the ground. And he's looking longingly because I see he's got nothing with him, no water or anything. And see, he saw everybody lighting a cigarette up. Well, I got rolling tobacco with me and a lighter and stuff. So I went and got that out of the van. So it's nothing to me, you know, just give him a couple of pouches and spare and a couple of bottles of water. And he took these. And I mean, it was embarrassing because he was so gushingly grateful. He got up and the guy's bloody crying. And I thought, oh my God, it really got to me. And the guy got up and he's going, thank you. And Christian came over to see what the fuss was and explained. The guy, he said he was overwhelmed because of all this. And the guy got nothing, you know. But as I'm stood there, he balances himself without any crutch. And he only got one thing that's precious. And he had a badge around his neck on a piece of string hanging from his neck. And it was a battered tin badge. But on it had a worn picture of Pope Carolus, who they regard as the Pope of Miracles, Coptic Pope.
Okay.
And this was his icon that he carried. He took the bloody thing off his neck and put it over mine. And in that second, I realized that I had everything, but I'd got nothing. He had nothing, but he got everything. And it humbled me.
That dude was grateful to have a fag rolled for him. Don't they think that the word that you use over there? That's just a cigarette, right? He was grateful to somebody just rolled him up a smoke. I mean, holy shit, man.
The lesson in humility that gentleman told me, he was a king to me. Never ever known anything like it.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And he was happy. And you know, I said to the guys then, the policeman, I said, please help him to get a lift to his village. And I was assured, I was promised they would. I think maybe they would because they saw the interaction that we had. But that story and others, I've got it on my Facebook page, you know, so anybody can.
What the slightest, they're good. The slightest amount of compassion that we give to one another, is just you never really know. You know,
priceless.
Of course, it's priceless.
Matthew.
It is priceless.
Totally priceless.
Thank you, Lola. By the way, thank you, honey, for the stars.
Yes.
Let us.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's this little burst now of stuff. Uh, I, I still have only scratched the surface. There's other directions and other things as well. And I will say next time what I'm aiming for, Matthew,
Mhm.
I'm aiming next time to finally do the big expose of NC2.
Oh, that is what I've been. That is the chamber that I know most.
Everybody's been waiting for.
Out of curiosity, again, if I will try like hell to let me get back over here to this presentation. Let me close this little thing here. But you guys, I'm gonna try to get. Oh shit, that screen is way too big. I want to try to get these the watermarks to where they are workable, right? Workable. I still want them there for Richard.
Yeah.
But we can get them out of the way a little bit somehow, some way. Even if I've got to complete. I know you're gonna kick my ass for this, but even if I've got to completely redo this gallery, okay. Yeah. I mean, oh man, if I were logged in, okay, I'm just saying, if I was logged in, I don't believe the watermarks would be there.
Okay.
Okay. But since I'm not logged into the website, they're gonna be there. I apologize, but there are some really, really, really kick-ass images that Richard has got in all these galleries. Let me again. You see the watermark? Let me.
Yeah.
And they got one below here. I've got to try to get them watermarks off of that website. Matrixminds matrixminds.org/RG. So
I guess they could be. I mean, if it were possible, they could be put along the bottom, like a URL or something.
Yeah.
And faded even a bit more, perhaps.
It's coming
Made
along.
A little bit more
I never even in my wildest dreams thought I would be putting together a website for someone
sure.
like for real. I'm being absolutely honest. And everybody that follows this broadcast knows that I absolutely am engulfed with anything and everything Egypt. I mean, if I've got a wild hair that wants to research, everybody will tell you the first place I go is right here. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. I mean, Egyptian tribal all over my body.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just drawn to that place, man. And I love the fact that your colleague, I can say my colleagues now are working on, like right there, what Morgan just said. Disclosure is coming clean, and it's time, right? It's time. Your guys are getting together. Me and Trevor are working together. We're militarized, y'all. Compartmentalized.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking of other places I got to talk about. Abu Lifa. Oh Lord, the Roman fort.
Is there anything that we can talk about at the moment to like prelude into the next broadcast? Out of curiosity, I'm gonna drop your drop the link in the description of the show to where everybody can get your images if they would like. Mm-hmm. Again, everybody just bear with me because I will work on the galleries. Egypt wasn't built overnight. It took a couple weeks.
Yeah, just a little.
Peggy says, Matthew, it's your calling. I love Egypt, baby. I don't know why. I just do. Morgan Roundtree says, dope. Matthew, you obviously lived there, which is why it means so very much to me. And she's probably right. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of them ones that don't remember any of my past lives because of like heavily being amnesia, being bombarded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Trevor. I see your message there as well, Trev. Give Bill a nudge if he didn't watch or didn't see it.
I've got to refresh this.
To dig that picture out and marry it up with the GPR results on the plateau, on the causeway. Picture out next to Osiris and marry.
There we go. I had to redo the screen here because it was lagging. It's still lagging. See this?
Yeah.
It's lagging.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Gabriel, I'm gonna go on over here to right here and let you say a final word, buddy.
Okay. No, and I think the
right.
final word is
Right now.
never say. Yeah, never say never, but always ask why.
Never say never, but always ask why. All right, Mr. Gabriel, my friend, I love spending time with you, man. And
yeah, it's gone so quick, but thank you, Matthew, so much as always.
You're welcome.
And
man.
to everybody that's tuned in on this, bless you all. Spread the word, folks. Honest to goodness, because it is all about exposure to change the order of things. You know, we're not, when it comes to uncovering the truth of our past and everything. Us independents, we're not the enemy.
No,
that's the bottom line.
No
help.
ego, bro. No ego.
No,
it's not about Trevor. It's not about me. It's not about Richard. It's about the totality of everybody coming together.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, that fellow right there, Trevor Grassi. He and Bill are working on their own little thing. Okay, which preludes into what Richard and I are doing, which preludes into what Gunnar and me are doing. We're all coming together to doing something I believe great. And I now, like Morgan, God bless her. No, now's the time.
Yeah, that's right.
Richard, take care of yourself, buddy. All right.
Okay then.
Right.
And you, Matthew. Yeah. What time is it now? I suppose it must be early hours here now. I'll try and get a bit of kip now.
All right. We'll holler at you, buddy.
I don't know what time it is. Oh, it's 4:45 in the morning. So yeah.
Oh, it's only 5
Okay.
o'clock. The hell? Get up, make some eggs, coffee, go for a run.
Still half a day left yet. What you on about?
Good night, bro. I'll holler at you later.
All right. Good night then, Matthew. Good night, everybody. Thanks ever so much.
All right.
Okay. All the very best.
Oogie doogie, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Holy smokes! I would say keep your hands in the ride, right? But it's definitely been fun. I've enjoyed being with Richard. I hope you guys have had a good time with me. Going on another almost 2 hours and 45 minutes. But I'll tell you what, I love spending time with him, and the knowledge. Again, Trevor, I hope you realize, bro. I hope you realize, which I know you do, the mind, the memory, the knowledge. Bro, we can't talk to John Anthony anymore. Anybody, John's gone. It's the lineage is passing on. Do you see this? It's coming like right around to what we have loved for so very long. I guess that's why I've like grabbed onto Richard, and it's like it's I don't want to let go. You know what I'm saying? I want to preserve his work, Bill's work, your work, Trevor, my work, and get it to come together to where, because there's a mountains of stuff, dude, mountains of stuff, and we'll never get this back, Trevor. If something happens to either one of these fellas, we've got to get and preserve this content. We've got to preserve this content. That's why I'm working very diligently to do that. And I want to say this. It's taking you over to another page right here. This broadcast is not free for me. It's not free for really anybody. So if you can become a subscriber to the broadcast, please, every dime that you guys donate on the website on the on matrixminds.us goes to the funding of the broadcast. When you become a subscriber, you guys get to know that literally you guys are the ones that run this shit show. I'm not kidding. This is 100%, and I mean, I am very proud to say it is 100% viewer and listener supported, myself included. I add to this every month. Shout out right real quick to all of our ABCs that's tuned in overseas, no matter where you're at, who you are, where you are, what color you wear. You guys are on the inside of this fictitious shit show. Let me tell you, boys. Oh my God. You're on the inside, we're on the outside looking in, and we trust you. We gotta trust you. We have got no choice in the matter, do we? It is you. Every bit of you. So I'm just letting you know we do appreciate you. Please, please, please take care of yourselves. Everybody out there, men and women in uniform as well. You guys take care of yourself. Matthew Turner here with the Matrix Minds. I'll catch you back here on Monday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock West Coast. I know you can't stand our ass time. And any other times, check with the chat. They know. You guys, take it easy. Enjoy your guys' weekend, man. And again, thank you guys for being with me and Richard the entirety of the evening. Lifting the lid on Giza, baby, with Richard Gabriel. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Crank that shit up, Radiac, right now, baby. Yeah!
Yeah. Let's do this.
One of the fastest growing talk shows on the internet.
Radio show. Welcome aboard the Matrix Minds. One of the most controversial conspiratorial shows on the web. The Matrix Minds. And that's right. Buckle up, everybody. Let's go. Paranormal, huh? Conspiracy, huh? Ufology, hidden Egyptology, and anything and everything we can get our hands on. Let's go. Welcome aboard. The Matrix Minds. The Matrix Minds. Show.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole is. All I'm offering is the truth. Stay in Wonderland. All I'm offering is the truth. Stay in Wonderland.
Matrix Minds audio backtracks by Richard Roller from Victoria, Australia. All your audio needs, audio creation, audio editing for the podcast, for movies, outright music creation, touch-based productions. Contact Richard Roller at richardroller007@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, Austin here with Colorado Custom Game Calls. Are you looking for a game call for your upcoming season? Are you looking for something unique? Are you looking for a gift for the hunter in your life? Well, look no further. We got you covered. At Colorado Custom Game Calls, you get to put your own twist on these calls. Whether it's waterfowl hunting, big game hunting, predator, or turkey, we got you covered. So be sure to hit us up on our Facebook and Instagram or on the web at coloradocustomgamecalls.com.
What is up, all my beautiful and gorgeous souls? I am Michelle Espinosa, otherwise known as the Shaman, through the Matrix Mind Media. So tell me, how many times have you wished that you had that special power of prediction? You know, to know what was going to happen before it actually happened and took place. To have some power and control over that situation before things came flying at you out of left field. The thing is, you actually can have that power. You can be aware of what's coming. Tune in to Astrology TV with me for Breaking the Cage. Every Sunday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Matrix Mind Media. And I will go through the astrology and help put you on the right course and get you back in control of your own life. Love you guys.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. MatrixMinds.live/CBD. The CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again.